Yes, it is true. The Black Ace Hockey Podcast is back in action to close out the new year. My name is Blaine Adams. I'm right here as always with your co-host Nick Jenks Jenkins. What's going on, man?
Finally, I know the people have missed us.
Oh yeah, they always miss us.
We, we
I mean, how
took a
could you
couple of
not
weeks
like
off
these
here.
faces? You know?
That's just it. Our beautiful smiling
Right.
faces, our exhilarating content,
Exactly.
bringing you the latest and greatest. Hey, we just got to take a little bit of time off. Things get busy this time of year, and the NHL goes on their holiday shutdown and stuff. So we decided we're going to take a little bit of time off too, and that's all right. We're gonna do our 2024 wrap up here.
You're damn right. Call us Spotify the way we're wrapped up. Um, but yeah, the NHL season has been kind of getting a little crazy. It's getting a little hot spot right now, post Christmas and going into the All Star break or Four Nations Cup next year. So it's gonna look interesting for the show in the future. But the people want to know, Jenks, did Santa stop at your house this year, or did he just like drop a lump of coal off?
Now he said I don't have time for this guy.
Gotcha.
He just drove right by.
Okay. Okay.
we um we funny enough we haven't done our family Christmas yet because it's been so busy. So we have to
What?
do that still.
Oh my
Yes.
God.
Yep.
You're getting kind of late here, getting tied up here.
I know we're really pushing it. We'll get around to it. It's okay.
All
I'm
right.
not worried about it.
All right, that's fine, that's
But
fine.
what about you? What'd you get? What'd you get from Santa?
I got a nice golf towel. Okay,
Beautiful.
that's gonna be definitely utilized next golf season. And I got a few little uh kind of knickknack things. And some would call it stocking stuffers.
Hmm.
Uh, so those are always fun, and got some essential things for the kitchen, and got some new running shoes. So those are always good too, because I beat up my running shoes, man. I'm running like 3-4 miles a day because I'm on that train. Just a moving
Good for you.
fridge out there. Just a moving
Moving
fridge.
fridge.
That's what I want. I want a T-shirt when I run the half marathon in Pittsburgh. I just want moving fridge. That's what I want.
That's
I
outstanding.
move the
I'll get
weights
you.
in the
I'll
gym
get you
room.
one.
I move the kids out of the center of the ice when they're fighting each other, and I move the legs. But yeah, getting right into it, guys. The hockey season is pretty much flipped on its head this year. The Rangers suck. The Pens are back, and nobody knows what's going on in any sort of the West Division. It's just like a crime scene over there. Everybody sucks, but somehow everybody's good. I don't know. But first, we're going to start with the Rangers. Seems to be the absolute disaster zone right now. You sign Igor to
Hmm.
a 100 by 100, and then per usual, like all goalies do when they sign these major deals, they suck. And I don't know if it's like post money depression or post money excitement or what. They just forget that they actually have to still play hockey. Um, so I just want to start with that aspect, and then we'll move down in the Rangers kind of depth chart.
Yeah, they're a mess, and we're getting to the point in the year where it's going to be too late to turn it around.
Yeah.
Once we make the turn of the year here and the calendar flips, it's like if you're on the outside looking in, especially with how far back they've got a lot of teams to leapfrog if they want to make the playoffs. And obviously the big Truba trade was their chance to shake things up, and then they committed to Igor, like you said,
Yep.
and hopefully you get back on the tracks after that, and they look no different to me. I just don't see it there. I wonder if there's more shakeups to be made. I could see, they've been rumored to be wanting to move on from Kreider still. Wonder if that's in the works. He was scratched the other night. Um, and then for whatever reason, like Zibanejad has just been horrible this year. He's been awful.
Yeah.
And you wonder with a big contract like that, I don't know, it's going to be tough to move, but if he's not playing to what you expect him to be, he's really a detriment to the team. So
Yeah.
um, it's tough. I don't really know what you do in this position if you're the Rangers, because you're expecting to compete with that team, and then they just moved Kako too. So
Crapo,
they're,
yeah.
yeah, Crapo Caco is out the door here, and hopefully he's going to get more playing time in Seattle, and maybe we'll see if he pops off or what. But
Yeah, yeah.
they are a dumpster fire, and I just don't see how you put the fire out and get things back in shape.
I to me, hockey's one of those sports where it's not all about the money. Yes, I get it.
Mm-hmm.
It's nobody likes working for free. I don't work for free ever. No free ads ever. So it's like, at what point in your Rangers locker room do you bring people in and like try to coach these young guys and say like, hey, you're gonna get your salary, you're gonna get your money, but at some point you're gonna have to like give and take. Like we can't pay
Yep.
you 8 million when you play on the third line. Like we can give you two, three maybe. I mean, not Jeff Carter money for sure. Certainly not Lars Eller money. God no. Like I I just think the culture shift needs to change in New York. And I understand taxes are high. I'm sure their entertainment tax is also crazy. So they have to have like some sort of give and take. I don't know if like,
Yep.
hey, Rangers organization, you pay half of our taxes, like something like that, or like a little more
Mm-hmm.
than 3/4 of the tax, whatever it is. So
Yep.
and stuff like that deters people from going there too, like the Sabres. A lot of people don't want to go to Buffalo because it's Buffalo, right? There's nothing in Buffalo
Yeah.
except
Good
Scotty
point.
Scholl. That's it. So I mean, at the end of the day, I think we need to look at the team in general and say we need culture guys. We need a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Lafreniere is that guy. They
Could
tried
be.
the whole Crapo situation, and I thought it was great when the New Jersey Devils played them. They beat them. Jack Hughes scores, and the New Jersey Devils played the Rangers uh, fans reacting to them drafting Kako over Jack. So like, if anybody hasn't seen that clip, the Rangers cheered. They were like overjoyed that they did not pick Jack Hughes, right? And look how it turned out. So it's like one of those situations where I I think we just need a shift from the old guard to a new breed of like people. I don't know. Maybe get
Mm-hmm.
Lundqvist back in there. Get some like veteran leadership, like people that's been around the team. Messier. I don't know. I don't know who you bring in.
Oh, 100%. I don't know what you do. You've got to try something. I know they're trying, but it just doesn't seem like it. It seems like this season was lost, and you've almost got to start planning for next year and just say, you know what, I know our goal was to win a cup this year. We're probably a long shot to even make the playoffs at this point,
Right.
and let's just turn the page and identify who our pieces are moving forward and move on from other
You
guys.
say that, and the Edmonton Oilers last year were last in the
Mm-hmm.
league, I think, all the way until the All Star break.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's like if the Rangers, figure it out, they would be a scary 8 seed. I'll tell you what,
Oh yeah,
I would not want to
100%.
be first in the division and play the Rangers like that. That would be scary. Worse than playing Columbus in what was it, 2022 when they swept
Mm-hmm.
those two teams right out of Lightning in Florida, right off the
Yep.
rip. Like
Yep.
that's scary. Uh, Seeing Igor back there all pissed off, I think would definitely frighten anybody, and have some nightmares for sure. But kind of the opposite end of that spectrum in that division, Pens. We're so back. We're all the way back. Crosby's firing. I mean, he's setting records. Malkin, Malkin's Malkin. He's not going to change. He's just straight down the middle. Crosby setting the all-time franchise record in assists, 1034. That's how many he's got total in the bank. I just don't think this guy's ever going to quit.
There's not much that hasn't been said about Sid still at this point in his career that needs to be said. I mean, he continues to set records day by day. He's not showing any signs of slowing down. Um, I know. from the way he gives his interviews and stuff, it sounds like he's not going to be one of these guys like a Yager who drags out his career. He's going to say when I don't feel like I can compete at my top level anymore, I'm going to walk
Right.
away. So, realistically, we've probably got another 2 or 3 years of him max. I know his contract is through his age 40 season, so we'll see how that goes. But he has been, again, this season, the catalyst that is making the Pens go. And like you said, the Pens are hot right now. And watch out. I mean, there's a lot of teams that are pretty tight in, especially in the Metropolitan Division, but in the East,
Yeah.
there's going to be a huge battle for playoff spots. But if I believe in anybody to lead a team to make a push to get in the playoffs, it is Sidney Crosby.
Yep.
And as a Pens fan, I would love, 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 love to see them get at least one more run at it. Even if we just make the playoffs and we have a hard battle series and we just lose, okay, I get it. But let's take one more run at this thing with Sid, and then if it doesn't happen, we pack it away and move on. But Sid is willing this team to win right now, and it's showing on the ice. Even Carlson's been responsible defensively, I'll say. Um,
It's very generous out of a Carlson hater.
I've historically given Latang a lot of shit for being
Yeah.
basically a fourth forward out on the ice, and Carlson is the same way. And when we added Carlson, it was like, oh my god, this is fantastic. And then you look at it and you're like, oh my god, we've got two Latangs now. That's a problem.
Right. Yeah.
But I'll say over the last 4 or 5 games, he's been pretty good out there. But that's what you need. You need your superstars to be superstars, and Sid leading the way, and Carlson playing at the top of his game, and Malkin not showing signs of slowing down, and it just looks very promising right now.
Yeah, and I think the thing that I like personally about the Penguins right now, we're starting to see them bring in younger kids, or not kids, younger
Yes.
men, into the rotations where naturally in over the last like maybe 5 to 10 years, they really haven't. Like debuts haven't happened in the Pens. It's either guys that have played an AHL game or two, and then they come up and go
Mm-hmm.
down and come up and go down. But like they brought out this Klerman guy, defenseman on the Penguins, rookie, right out of like the AHL college era. Like I think it's great that we're finally starting to see some sort of like let's see who we got in the Pens. Like
Mm-hmm.
we never used to do that. I'm pretty pumped that this Risotto, whatever they're calling him in the locker room, Rissotti, that guy. I don't know what to think about him. He's shorter than me and he's good. I can't I don't know what else to say about him.
I will give that. When we signed him, a lot of people were like, I have no idea who Blake Lizotte is. Like, you didn't even know how to say his name, right?
Right.
He is a fantastic two-way center. Like, he's never going to be a huge point guy, but he plays very well defensively. And I just looked it up because you brought his name up, and I was like, I like that guy. He has the best plus minus on the Pens.
Yeah.
He is the best two-way player on the Pens right now, and you need guys like him in the lineup. He's an energy guy, plays really good defensively, contributes a few points here and there. He's on the score sheet once in a while, but he's like he's what we lost when we had Tanev. We had
Right.
Tanev,
Little motor.
and he was the Energizer Bunny. He's out there banging bodies, getting the puck deep, just taking care of it in the defensive end. And we lost that when we lost him. And Lizotte reminds me of him. Like I don't think he's as good, but he's the same type of player.
Yeah. I looked up and down the roster and I think we had such a I wouldn't say rebuild, but a definitely shift in the locker room that maybe it
Yeah.
took 30 35 games to be like, all right guys, like now we know each other, like let's go. Like here we go. Like follow me, Sid says. Follow me. Um
Yes.
but yeah, the Penguins definitely turning it around on the scoreboard and in the locker room. Uh, One thing I wanted to ask you, as we're following the
Mm-hmm.
NHL here, so far, about midway through the season, who is your shocker team, either up. I mean, I'd say as far as doing well, because the shocker would obviously be the Rangers that they suck so bad.
Yep.
So
Yep.
who on the other end are you like, wow, I thought they were gonna suck this year. They're good.
I'm glad you said let's not talk about shocker bad because I think for most people the Rangers is the shocker bad, and we've already talked about them a lot.
Right.
The shocker good for me this year is the Washington Capitals. I mean, they're second place in the Metro. You just had to think like based on their offseason moves, like they added some youth, but they didn't really add any high elite players to that lineup.
Yep.
And Ovechkin another year older, John Carlson another year older. Um, Goaltending is good, not great,
Yep.
and they're just getting it done. I mean, they've done a great job of winning games, and even games that it's like, oh, this Ovechkin's been out of the lineup for the last how many days? 4 or 5 weeks,
Right.
and it's like, okay, how does that affect them? They're still winning games. Um, so sometimes you just have pure willpower, and they've added that youthful energy from bringing in the young guys and letting them play. Guys like Connor McMichael has been really good for them. So they've been my big shocker as far as surprise good team this year.
Yeah, I mean, just to stay on that team for just a hot minute, Ovi's just doing incredible things. We talked about him being an absolute machine. 40 days after breaking your leg, I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah.
if I broke my leg, Jenks, I would still be in a cast. There'd be no way
Yeah.
I would not even be walking right now. I would have a personal chef. I'd be, I'd be cooking it up with personal people right now. But
Yep.
I this guy not only came back 40 days later, went back to back goals
Mm-hmm.
in games.
Yep.
I Right now I hope there's nobody on earth rooting against him to break Wayne's goal record. Even Wayne
Yes.
wants him to beat it. Like that's how
Yep.
like cool Wayne is. So just seeing it, like I hope people realize like we're actually watching greatness. Like we're living through it.
Mm-hmm.
Like when we're 60 and 80, we're gonna see I don't know, uh, Alexei Shoshevov over from Russia. He's gonna be breaking Ovi's records, and we're gonna be like, "Oh, I watched Ovi. He broke his hip, two legs, and an ankle, and came back the next day." Like, and they're gonna be like, "All right, shut up, old man." Like this is it. Like we lived through this shit, so it's crazy to see what this man's doing.
Yeah, I 100%. I'm so glad you put it that way too, because if people don't appreciate what we're watching in OV right now, like they said Gretzky's record may never be broken. I don't know who's going to do that. Like, there's nobody in the NHL currently other than maybe Matthews, but
McDavid?
I don't know that he ever breaks that goal record. McDavid's a points guy.
Yeah,
He's never had like a 60 goal season.
true.
Um, I
I don't
think
know if
McDavid's
Matthews
going to
would
be up
ever
there in
touch it.
points, but
I don't think he's got the ego for it. He's good. He
he's
doesn't got the ego for it.
he's the only guy who even has a chance, I'll say.
Yeah.
And I don't even know that I fully believe that he could. I'm just saying he's the only guy that comes to mind that I would even put in the realm of saying, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But this record is ridiculous, and everybody should appreciate what we're watching right now in OV. And if the Capitals are on TV, we're only 25 goals away from seeing it happen. So tune in to Caps games, especially as we get closer here.
Yep. And for my pick of shocker this season, I know they're not all the way up on the in the leaderboard standings, but the Ottawa Senators. I mean, I think
Mm-hmm.
we when you hear Ottawa, when you hear Anaheim, when you hear Detroit in the recent years, you think bottom of the barrel. Like you think instantly bad all the time, forever. They're like middle of the pack this year. I mean, they're right in the wild card race. I know it's halfway through, but that's important. Like being able to tell your team, like, hey boys, just keep doing it, keep pounding, in and out every day. Come to work. Like that's what you need, especially with Ottawa being so young in talent, and with Brady Tkachuk and Stutzel or whatever he says.
Hmm.
I think it's very important to just remind those guys like, hey, keep it moving. Let's just don't even think, just keep going. December,
Yep.
they are 10-3 this last month. So if they get on a heater in January, February, maybe they can cool off, a little shutdown in March, and then rebuild and ramp right through the playoffs. Like
Hmm.
I know that All Star break is super important. That's why like you have to get these quick momentum swings and then shut it off for the All Star break and then ramp it right back up. And that's what Sid always does. I'm sure he has some like master chef in his bedroom. Like he's like, hey, like I'm making you all this junk food. Here's a Big Mac, and then after All Star break, it's like only chicken ever. So,
Right.
but Ottawa Senators are my pick for shocker. Shocker up, whatever you want to say. You put it good.
Yeah, a surprise good
Surprise
team.
shocker. Yeah, yeah.
I want to give I want just want to add real briefly a quick shout out to the Columbus Blue Jackets because with everything that happened in the offseason, losing Johnny Gaudreau and the struggles they've had with some of their younger players, they had all the excuses
Yeah.
lined up to be really bad this year, and nobody would have said anything about them being at the bottom. And they're currently only 4 points out of a playoff spot, and they're playing some really good hockey, um, beating some of the top teams. I know they went on a West Coast tour over the last couple of weeks, and they beat like Colorado and some other good teams. So they're here to play. They're battling every night, and they're having they're a 500 team, but they're having a really good year considering all of the hurdles that they had to go through on the off season and losing one of the core members of their team. So I would say they're having a surprise good year too.
Yeah, and kind of staying with the good talks about teams before we absolutely shit on some people. Um, Carolina, Rod Brendanmore, fastest coach to 300 wins. Um, and I would say it's pretty much all credit to him. Like that
Mhm.
man took over and shifted Carolina. Like they were like terrible, if not mid tier terrible. They
Yep.
were never in it. They're kind of the same thing as you stick them with Ottawa, Detroit, and Anaheim. Like you kind of always know that they're going to be at the bottom, but not in the last like couple years here. I'd say at least 5 years they've always been in it. Like, hey, I don't
Hmm.
want to play Carolina in the playoffs. Like, give me I don't know Boston. Like, give me Boston right now. So, I think for him setting that record, especially with Carolina where he won the cup with, I think is very cool and kind of a nice record to have. Fastest coach to 300. Yeah, I'd say that at the kitchen table, maybe at a bar, pickup line.
Pick up line 100%.
Like, hey,
He
this guy over here,
you
fastest coach to 300 wins. Ah, man.
see that guy sitting over there? Yeah.
Have you met my friend
You,
Rob? Um,
hey, not much to add. You nailed it. He gets all the credit in the world. I mean, he you could argue that he inherited a good team and he did have some talented players on that team, but the culture that he's created and the staying power with that team in that culture, um, they've been one of the top teams in the East every year that he's been there because of that, and
yep.
he deserves all the credit for that. So um, fantastic, congratulations to him, and I'm sure that Carolina's sure glad they got him, and they're gonna let him have the reins for quite a while now.
Yeah, I'd say the only thing that he needs to work on is their rental system in playoffs. Their rental buys are absolutely terrible. I mean, Jake Gensel,
That's a GM
in and
problem, not
out.
a coach problem.
Kuznetsov, just a miss on that guy for a
Yeah.
rental. But
Whoops.
but that'll happen. I mean, look at Kovacek. The guy wanted like a 10
Yeah.
by 10 or 10 by 100 or whatever it was back in like 2005. Like nobody even had
Yep.
$10 million.
Yep.
dollars. So,
Yep.
kind of moving on to a lighter note, just around the corner, happens every year like clockwork now. We're right against the Winter Classic barrier, and this year is Chicago hosting the St. Louis Blues at Wrigley Field. Uh, I, I can't say anything bad about the Winter Classic. I think it's certainly one of those events that is good for the city itself because when the Pittsburgh one happened, the first one at least, they usually bring out the local teams, the local youth teams. They don't skate on the main ice. They
Mhm.
usually have a side rink somewhere that's like built for
Hmm.
practicing. And local teams will have like a charity game, or they'll have a fun little scrimmage out there, like those independent AAA teams or AA teams usually have their games over there. So I think it just really ignites the city of hockey in every city that it goes to, and I think they're fun. They're more, in a sense, not. I wouldn't say as competitive because I think people are still trying to like take in the Winter Classic as a player
Yep.
and not so like I'm out here to kill you. They're like, oh my god, this is like, you know, as Gen Z would say, a core moment in life. So I just want to hear your thoughts around just Winter Classics in general.
Yeah, Winter Classics are fantastic. I know we got into a debate the one day a little bit about them doing all these stadium series games and stuff, and I think they get a little bit carried away with the outdoor
Right. I
games.
like the Winter Classic, like that
Yes, agreed.
game. Yeah.
Yeah, I will never. I think it's a fantastic experience, and if you're a fan of hockey, you should definitely go at least
Yeah.
once. I went to the first one,
Buffalo.
Penn Sabres in Buffalo, and the snow globe game, and Crosby winning it on the shootout. It was
Insane. Insane
unbelievable, just
marketing
unbelievable.
move by the NHL. They rigged it. They so rigged that. Ugh. Unreal. Talk to Ryan Miller about that one for sure.
It's Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm sure they paid off Ryan
Yeah.
Miller to not talk about. Hey,
Yeah.
you gotta let Sid score on this one.
Kind of like Buzz Aldrin in the
Um,
moon landing.
yeah, oh God, here we go. Welcome to the conspiracy podcast.
I didn't know this was Joe
Um,
Rogan. Yeah.
Now the winter classics are so much fun, man. You go out there, especially in like a market like Buffalo, you just freeze your butt off. But to sit there in the snow and watch these teams play and just get that whole experience, it's something that I recommend that every hockey fan does once, at least once. Um, and it's fantastic advertising. I mean, it's back to the roots of the game, right? Before there were these big, fancy, multi-billion-dollar arenas, it was just some guys with sticks and or what were they? What did they first use as a puck? A
Cow.
rock or whatever? And
What is the manure? Cow pucks. Cow patties.
cow
Yeah, whatever they
cow
call it.
patties.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus Christ! I'm
Yeah, they
sure that
did though.
smelled
It was
good.
like frozen.
I believe you. I
Yeah.
believe you.
So
Um, but yeah, it's great for the game. I think it's great. Everybody likes watching it on TV too because it's something different, and you get to do it at a unique location like Wrigley Field, for example. And so I think the Winter Classics are great.
yeah, it's Stadium Series. They can go out the window. They're too much.
Yeah, yeah.
I think now we see more of the instead of Stadium Series. It's what the international. So like teams will go overseas. And I
Yep,
like those. I think those are nice because a lot of people on the teams are international, so they'll go over and have those.
yep.
But yeah, I think the Winter Classic it's more fun, fun for everybody. I went to the second Pittsburgh one against the
Okay.
Caps, and they lost, and that's where OV injured Crosby for the 19th time. So yeah, I love hate Ovi, love hate Ovi. Um, but yeah, the good luck to both those teams fighting out there in the Winter Classic. Hopefully it's not too cold, but hopefully it's cold enough not to melt the ice like the last one, Boston and the Avs up in Tahoe. Yeah, that
Hmm.
one.
Yeah,
Um,
yep.
but I wanted to jump on not a new, but the highlights tournament of the year for World Juniors, the
Hmm.
championships, of course. USA, Canada, Germany, no Russia, I think.
Still no Russia.
Still
Yep,
no Russia. Yeah,
correct.
Latvia. I think that's like the biggest one everybody knows right now. If you didn't know
Hmm.
it was a country, now you know. Switzerland, Finland, whatever other
Yep,
teams are there.
yep.
But Jenks is all our correspondent for World Junior Hockey. The guy loves it so much, so I'm gonna hand the mic over to him.
man, the best time of year. If you have any interest in junior hockey and like the NHL stars of tomorrow, we'll call them. Um, this is just such a
Stars
fun
of
tournament,
tomorrow
and
today.
the stars of tomorrow today.
Okay.
And it's prime time to watch it. Especially if you're off work and stuff. These games are on all day long. You get to see the best kids from every country battling it out. There's some debate about the Canadian roster this year, but we're not going to get too much into that. Just the Canadian fans are a little sketched out about how that picking process went. So,
Okay.
maybe they've got their justification because the Canadians lost to Latvia, and that's considered one of the biggest upsets in recent memory, and hard one for them to swallow. The Canadians, through 3 games, have only scored 9 goals, and they're typically a team that will score 9 goals in one game against a team like Latvia. So,
Right.
a little bit of a surprise there so far this year. U.S. just lost to Finland in overtime, so they've got a tie record with Canada. Kazakhstan, even in the tournament this year,
Okay. All
they
right.
just
That's awesome.
they just took the Czechs to, or not the Czechs, the Slovakia, I believe. Yeah, Slovakia. They took Slovakia to
Czechoslovakia.
overtime. No, the Czechs and Slovakia
Okay.
are separate now.
Right. Post
So
1950, I think. Got it.
welcome
I
to
just need
start.
to
Now
need,
this
need
is
to
a
update
social.
my history books, I guess.
And this is a world geography and social studies
Yeah,
podcast.
I mean, I'd fall asleep every social studies. Like, why am I learning about the Treaty of Versailles right now? I don't care. Don't care. It happened in 1800s. Don't care.
Yep. But yeah, still plenty of hockey to be watched in this tournament. We're only through the round robin games right now at this point. Gonna go through all the quarterfinal rounds, the medal rounds, all of that still to be coming. Typically, it's USA and Canada undefeated, and this year we've got a little bit of more mix going on, so it could be anybody's game. I think at this point the Americans are the favorites to win the tournament, but we'll just have to see how it plays out. There's some surprises in the Group B. The Czechs are undefeated, Swedes are undefeated, Slovakia 1 and 2, Kazakhstan. Yeah, so it's really anybody's game at this point. Anybody could surprise anybody, and the games are really fun to watch. They've been very entertaining so far.
Yeah, and I just
Um,
want to touch on like what's the Canadian drama about how the picking process. I didn't hear about this.
yeah, so long story short is the Canadians are always so loaded, and there's always like guys who are like, this guy should have been on the team,
Right.
left off the team. And this year there were like 3 or 4 really really big names who the media was like, oh, these guys will be on the team for sure. And then once the roster came out, it was like, oh my god, they're missing like 3 out of the best 5 players that should have been on the Canadian roster. Like, what are they doing?
Right.
Um, and there was some back and forth about it, and I don't know that the Canadians ever really the Canadian what is it, Hockey Canada or whatever is the organization, um, really made any statement about how their picking process worked or why some of
Right. Because
these
they don't
like
care. They just pick people.
huge, yeah. But it just seemed like they missed out on some of the better, bigger names being on this team,
Right.
and fans have been tearing them up on social media
Well, it's
for.
because they're losing. If they were winning, they'd be like, Hockey Canada is smart as hell.
Dude, you should have seen some of the comments that I saw on Twitter after they lost to Latvia.
Mm.
It was like, fire everybody in Hockey Canada right now.
Right.
Like, this is
Right.
this is the biggest upset ever. This is pathetic. We're not scoring any goals. We lost to a team who was expected to not get a single win.
Right.
Um, so it's. I don't remember there ever being this much drama. There's always been guys like left off the team in the past, but I don't ever remember it being this big a deal. Um, so if Canada doesn't win this year, I mean, you could argue if they take silver, fine, that's considered a good year. But especially if they don't medal, this is going to be a big deal,
Right.
and we might see some changes in Hockey Canada depending on how this all plays out. So, um, yeah, we'll stay close to this. I'm I'm very curious to see the drama unfold.
Yeah, and some of the drama during the tournament came from Canada themselves being defeated by Latvia. If anybody's living
Yes.
under a rock, hasn't seen that, which started the back-to-back days of upsets, of essentially the biggest upsets in hockey,
Hmm.
junior, college, or world championships have seen in a long time. And
Yep.
I kind of want to steal your thunder for the later subject of college hockey, but
Yep.
UNLV doesn't have a D1 team. They have a D1 ACHA team. And for those of you who don't know what ACHA is, or maybe starting to get up into the know-hows of hockey, it's the college hockey club system. So when you go to
Hmm.
college, you don't just stop playing hockey. You can join a club, and these are what these schools are doing. There's D1, there's D3. Based on how good you are. Obviously, I was supposed to go D1, but they messed up my paperwork, and I ended up D3. So, uh, but uh, but UNLV, around this time, like Denver, BC, all their kids go away to the World Juniors.
Hmm.
But Denver had most of their team there for the defending NCAA tournament champions. And this little ACHA team that's in the hottest place on earth
Hmm.
defeated the NCAA re- what is that? Returning champions, defending champions,
Defending champions. Yep. There you go.
Denver, and I just this like rattled hockey, like hockey Twitter, hockey the hockey world really. Um, I I don't even know what to say about this. It's like us
Every
playing
once in
slip
a
and rock,
while.
It's like what are we doing here?
Oh yeah, boy. Oh boy, that was another one.
Yeah.
On a on a much smaller scale, that was quite an upset.
Right.
Um, so every year, some of the better ACHA one teams do play some of the D1 programs,
Yeah.
and typically,
To gauge like
we
where they're
see.
at.
Yes, right. Yes, exactly. So typically we do see like some good games. Even sometimes we see some of the ACHA programs beat some of the lower tier D1 programs. It happens. But I don't remember there being a team like Denver, who's the defending champions,
Yeah.
lose to an ACHA one team in recent memory here. I don't know the ACHA one as well. I know UNL we have a stroke. UNLV is one of the better programs in ACHA one. I don't know that they'll ever go D1, but it's interesting because you just said it. They need to gauge where they're at because this is how we get more teams in D1.
Right.
It's these ACHA one teams who have been consistently at the top and winning a lot of national championships at the ACHA level. They just find the funding somewhere to say, hey, we're dominating ACHA one. We need to find funding. They find donors who are typically alumni or something like that. Um, get themselves a rink, get recruiting going, and then boom, we've got more D1 teams.
Right.
So, in a way, this is a good sign that we've got another program who can compete in UNLV, and maybe they do end up going D1 at some point in the next few years. Again, they'll have to find that funding because there are requirements in terms of rink and that sort of thing.
Right.
But yeah, this UNLV beating Denver, especially as Denver, as you said, has most of their team still there. Quite a shocker to the college hockey world. So I don't really know. I don't have good visibility to if there's any more of these games on the schedule. I know once the calendar flips, there's less and less of this inter-conference and inter-league play. It's more about you go into your conference. So Big Ten will play all their Big Ten schedule, and Hockey East will play their Hockey East schedule, and so on. So, but yeah, this comes as a big shock, and it's exciting if you're a UNLV player. You're like, oh man, we can compete. This is really good.
Like good luck for anybody in ACHA one at the tournament. Like that's a scary stat line. Especially like,
Imagine,
did you see the shots in that game?
yes, and
120 shots.
120
That's
shots,
three
just no
games worth of
defense at all,
shots in one game. Talk
no
about a
defense at all.
stone wall in that net. Like, and that's an
Yep,
ex University of New Hampshire goalie, like that
yep,
went there,
yep,
and now like you see like it's kind of like us getting Pelly, right? Like getting an ex
yeah,
like
yeah,
D like NCAA player, and just like
hmm
be like, yeah, I guess we could play one guy hang out at the other blue line while Pelly just saves everything. So it's like it's kind of like that, and I feel bad for like these Denver kids because I'm sure they're probably getting it, but also I'm sure
oh
they're
yeah,
laughing about it too. Like it's hard, Jenks. It's hard to wake up for games when you know you're gonna beat them. Like
oh yeah,
imagine playing Anaheim. Like yeah, we should, and I know we're gonna beat them. But like I, I probably am a little lackadaisical going through my routine.
yeah,
Like
no, I'd
throughout
say,
the day. So maybe it's stuff like that. And I know the appropriate hockey answer is, oh, we wake up and play everybody, no matter who it is, yada yada. Yeah, okay. You say that to the media, but behind closed doors, like you're playing ping pong before the game, not really
yeah,
thinking about the game. So
yeah,
maybe something like that is a wake up call to Denver and say, hey, like at any given moment we can be beat. Like just because we
right,
won last
100%.
year, don't mean shit. BC's looking real good. So it's like we need to come to the game and be prepared. Coach is in there like, hey, this is our job. You guys want to make it to the next level? This is what we need to do. So yeah,
Yep.
it's been a crazy weekend in the hockey world for as far as upsets go. Um, OHL Jenks. There was a trade that happened about 2 weeks ago now that I wanted to highlight. We usually do these things where the OHL is just a hodgepodge of crazy trades. You usually get one guy in a bag of chips for 19 picks and four people. I just feel bad sometimes in this trade. Like, imagine being traded with like three of your buddies for one single guy. One guy. Like I would feel like garbage. I'd be like, oh my god, I am 1/4 of that guy. Like, and not even like there's picks in there. Like you're 1/10 of that guy. I'll
Yep.
let you talk
It,
about the trade though.
I was just gonna say, I mean, it just goes to show you how much of a skill gap there really is in like the junior hockey level. Like you're if you're a first round pick, you are infinitely more valuable than everybody else.
Right.
And there are teams that are willing to pay, three or four players, like you said, like this trade, for example, four players and four picks and for one guy. And it's just crazy because if you watch, if you're fortunate enough to have junior hockey in your area and you watch these junior hockey games, you can just watch the first 5 minutes of the game and you're like, that guy's different.
Yeah.
He's just dominating the game. And that's these players who get traded for this laundry list of freaking players and picks. Um, and this happens every year. This is no
I
longer a
think they do it on
surprise.
purpose. I think they do it on
Oh yeah,
purpose. Like
oh yeah.
what can we cook up here to just be wild?
Like I want three 15th round picks,
Right? Yeah.
and
Yeah. And two
I
tender
will not accept.
offers, and I
I
want
will
all
not
my
accept
Coke
this
machines
trade.
stocked, and yeah.
Cash on the table.
Right.
It's just crazy. But if the junior hockey cycle is in this manner where if you have a shot, you don't know when your next shot's going to be, so you trade everything. You trade your entire fourth line and your third pairing defenseman and the next 15
Right.
years worth of picks
Right.
to go and get the third best player in the OHL, and now you've got a real chance to win it all.
Right.
Because odds are, if you don't win it, whether you win it or not, you're going to suck for the next 10 years, so you might as well just go all in.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, unless you're the London Knights and you cheat and you
And
just buy
somehow you
everybody.
just have everyone. Yeah.
They're like, hey, we can't pay you directly, but I promise you'll drive a
But we
Lamborghini
have a
around while you're
sponsor
on this
that
team.
dumped off 12 Lambos. Yeah. Unbelievable. Um, these these OHL trades make me laugh, but same with some of these NHL trades, right? Like we trade P.O. Joseph to St. Louis,
Yeah,
and for like a fourth round pick in exchange, and then we just trade for him back. And what makes me kill like question myself is like, what is future considerations? Like, hey, if he's actually good, we get a brisk high five, a solid high. Like I future considerations are so vague for me. Like I don't
it's
understand it.
nothing. It's literally nothing. It is the only reason you even say future considerations is literally so you don't say nothing.
Right.
We traded P.O. Joseph and for nothing.
Right.
Like there is no obligation of that team to take that trade into account in the future. There is no guarantee of any return coming back ever. It is the nicest way possible of saying we gave this guy away for free. That's it. That's
Right.
all it
And we
is.
packed suitcases for him, so he's ready to go right now.
Your your bags are ready to go. We bought you a plane ticket. Get the hell
Dude,
out.
they asked Chris Letang like how happy he is to have his tenant back, because I guess he was living with him at the time. And Letang's like, uh, not happy at all. You know, that guy makes a lot of mess, and now I just have to clean up after him again. So like, I'm sure they love seeing that, or they joke about like what people are traded for all the time. So
Oh
it's
yeah,
all in good fun though.
yeah.
And speaking of fun, I wanted to hit you with a topic here. You know, around this time, local leagues tend to shut down because everybody's traveling for Christmas and holidays and doing their own thing. And usually at the last practice before break, coach likes to do something crazy, you know. Um, and I wanted to ask, what is your favorite Christmas practice moment or memory? Like, what do you guys do to, have some fun out there? You know, hockey is fun. It's a sport. Let's have some fun. So I want to hear, what is your favorite Christmas memory of your last practice before Christmas break?
So as a player or currently as a coach
Either.
or both or either one's fine. So we always did. We've always had, like you said, even coming through youth hockey and stuff. You always have a fun practice right before you go on break, right? But I like the tradition that we have right now with the high school team. We take the last practice slot of the year. We did this last Monday, and we play parents, like it's basically family members and coaches against the team,
Okay. Okay.
and a game. And I now I'm a little bit salty that you brought this up because
Oh
this year we
no.
got spanked.
Oh God. Don't put that on the internet for everybody to hear.
It was it was not a good
Even with
performance from our
Jenks,
team this year.
ex OHL player. Oh God.
We're not even going to get
Ah,
into it. But
jeez.
all I'm going to say is that our decor on the family and coaches team was the travel 12U team.
Oh. Okay.
Um,
Okay.
we, we had
The
we
kids
had
weren't
three
weren't light on
defensemen.
them.
We had three defensemen. Oh my God, no! They're like, we're running this thing up. I don't even know what the final score was, but I think we lost by 3 touchdowns.
Oh man.
Yeah, they're like, it's their little brothers. They're like, I'm
Right.
not
Yeah,
taking
yeah.
it easy on him.
Right.
I'm gonna make him. I'm gonna throw him to the ground and then score a goal. But it's so much fun to just, especially get to play against the team that you're coaching, right?
Right.
Have some fun with the kids. They love it. They get so up for this game, and um, we even they were like sending out pregame emails to the team to like get fired up. They're like,
Nice. Yeah.
we're gonna kick their ass and all this. It's so much fun. So yeah, we didn't have the best performance this year, but I think it's a great tradition.
Maybe bring in some ringers next year.
No.
Maybe recruit.
Next year for our team, there's gonna be tryouts
Maybe
before.
maybe Roper's kid gets on the team, and you bring that guy down for
Oh
the
boy, could you
majors.
imagine?
Ugh. That'd be
If you score
legendary.
on us, Rupper's just gonna beat the daylights out of you.
Right? That'd be great. You see him like along the borders taping up his knuckles, like, oh, that'd be awesome. But yeah,
Uh,
I love the Christmas break. We used to for high school we always did ice hockey. So like same thing.
hmm,
You had to wear your gloves if you were QB.
yeah,
Like you couldn't
yeah,
use your actual hand. So which made it even worse. Like the ball was slipping out. It was like people were tackling you and hitting you and stuff. So yeah, I think stuff like that is fun just to kind of bring the joy back in hockey. I know when I was littler before high school, it was baseball.
hmm,
Um,
yes,
kind of the
yeah,
kind of the same thing. You'd set up bases and bring a wiffle ball bat out there and swing towards the fences. But yeah, stuff like that is kind of cool. And I sometimes wish like people would kind of relax a little bit out there and do that more often. Like I
yep,
love nothing made me more happy than in college we did those 3-on-3 like little scrimmages towards the end of practice. Like stuff like that not only brings out creativity, but it forms bonds. It forms like the team chemistry. Like everybody's laughing, having a good time, talking to each other. So and that's truly what it's all about. So hopefully
yeah.
everybody had a good Christmas going in towards the new year. We're gonna make some picks, and I think we're gonna do a special edition one, and it's gonna be the Winter Classic. I want to hear who is winning the Winter Classic, Chicago or St. Louis. For your writing on the
Oh
wall pick,
man.
Jinx.
So this week, I guess this means we could potentially have the same
We
writing on the
could.
wall pick.
We could.
Interesting. Okay. Um, man, I feel like St. Louis is the better team, right? Um, it's hard to say that Chicago, top to bottom, can compete with St. Louis.
Right?
Um, I think St. Louis has to be favored. I don't know what the odds are. But there's just part of me that's like, they're at Wrigley Field, okay?
Hmm. It's a
Connor Bedard
rivalry game
start.
too. It's not. It's not.
It's a
They hate each other,
hundred
Jinx. They
percent
hate
right.
each other.
100%.
Uh,
It is a rivalry game. They're at home in Chicago. They're at Wrigley Field. Connor Bedard was having a rough start to the season, starting to show his frustration, but he seems to be back on track lately. Playing better hockey, playing with some more confidence, and there's just part of me that feels like the Blackhawks are going to get this thing done. It's
Interesting. All right.
call it a gut feel. It's probably the underdog pick, but I'm taking Chicago at home for the Winter Classic.
All right. All right. It's hard to disagree with some of the things you say. I look down the Chicago roster and I see Bedard. I see former Buffalo Sabre Terry Hall. And or no, did he play? Yeah, he played for the Sabres for like a season.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I was like, wait, didn't they have him? Yeah. Um,
Yep.
and then I'm like, I love Peter Mrazek. I think that guy pre Detroit being bad was good.
Yep.
But then I look across at his opposing goaltender, Jordan Binnington. That guy needs to play for a trade. That guy
Yep.
needs to play for a job next year. And what better way to say I'm back than at the Winter Classic?
Okay.
So I'm picking your St. Louis Blues, the Blues Brothers, Binnington having a shutout in the biggest stage under the brightest lights, Wrigley Field. Book that responsibly, of course, always.
All right. The people are going to have to pick with who they want to side with here.
I just can't pick Chicago. I can't do it.
Fair
I,
enough. Fair enough. It's your pick. I'm
I
not
can't
going
do
to
it.
try to influence you.
But I am interested to see why they didn't have this game on New Year's Day because on New Year's it's the Devils and Kings. Like,
Yeah,
I'm sorry,
I don't know.
marketing team. Like, let's just move the Winter Classic to be the only game of the day.
Well, I remember the Winter Classic always being like a 1 o'clock start on New Year's Day. So like you
Right.
get up and you do your thing, and then okay, it's time to watch the Winter Classic, and it's like the right right in the middle of New Year's Day. Everybody's off work. There's nothing going
Are
on.
the
Everybody's watching it.
are the Bears playing that day?
I don't
No,
know.
it's a
Who cares about
Wednesday.
the Bears?
I I'm just asking. I don't know. I maybe it's a city thing, but
Who knows? It's a mistake. That's what I can tell you
it's a,
is it's a
it's
mistake.
a mistake. Right, right. Um, but any last words for the people, Jenks?
Nothing in particular. It's been a good 2024, and we hope you guys enjoyed the year of content with us, and looking forward to a successful 2025 as we flip the calendar and get into bigger and better things, and really focus on the second half of the season here. There's going to be a lot of action. Clearly, we talked about all this.
Yeah,
So yeah,
it's been fun first half of the season. Hopefully Santa brought everybody some nice presents, and
yep.
wishing everybody a great start to the new year coming up. Don't do anything stupid unless you invite me. Of course, my name is Blaine Adams. I am right here, always with your co-hosts, Nick Jenks Jenkins. We're out of here.